grow, and the rose petal got all kind of scratched and washed. You're not gonna say, "Damn,
Welcome to the presentation from new research on the success factors of foster care alumni in post-secondary education. My name is Sean Elliott, and as the Regional Associate Director of Seawell Canada Central Region, I work with universities and colleges in Canada to assist in the development of innovative work-integrated learning. As a survivor of the foster care system, I'm a graduate of a university degree in human services, a graduate certificate in career development, and my presentation today covers new research materials from the Masters of Education in Student Affairs program I'm completing at Wilfrid Laurier University. Did you hear about the rose that grew from a crack in the concrete, proving nature's law is wrong? Go down to the bottom. Long live the rose that grew from concrete when no one else ever cared. This is a poem by Tupac, a famous American actor and rapper. Tupac's message is that the rose symbolizes a man while the concrete stands for the ghetto. And some say that Tupac was referring to the fact that no one is expected to survive life in the ghetto. But he would say a man can prove this law wrong if he's ready to push through life. And many foster youth and children relate to the theme in this poem, pushing against expectations, and was adapted in the following way by foster youth in California. Keeping all these dreams, it came from concrete, it learned to breathe. Well, we are the rose that grew from concrete. Tupac's message was that hope can be found despite challenges. Why did I choose to look at this topic? Well, after emancipating from my family and from CIS at 15, I put myself through high school and hoped that I might someday create a brighter future for myself and my siblings. At, at one point, I had 3 part-time jobs during high school to survive, and when my peers would talk about their parties for the weekend or recreational plans with their families, I was making plans to pay the next rent or grocery bill. And although I have now put myself through college and university education, my younger brother and sister were supported in their education as Crown Ward foster children of CIS. Fast forward to where I am today, I discovered a few years ago that some startling facts that many foster youth like myself had in getting through higher education. And part of the shocking news of these facts, apart from the fact that less than 44% of foster youth graduate from high school and less than 5% of foster care alumni graduate from post-secondary education, and that trauma are some of those adverse conditions that foster youth carry into their long-term future. But more shocking in all that was that there was no evidence-based research outcomes that demonstrated how foster care alumni had been successful in Ontario colleges and universities. And so after attending a workshop with Dr. Renee Ferguson at Georgian College on her PhD dissertation, which was called Hidden Among the Underrepresented, Foster Youth Access and Persistence in Ontario Post-Secondary Education, I realized that novel case studies were needed to give voice to foster care alumni who had succeeded in their completion of higher education in our province. And so, with Dr. Ferguson's consent and Dr. Carolyn Fitzgerald's oversight, I embarked on the process to obtain approval at Wilfrid Laurier University to launch into the first known exploratory case study research in this area. John Seda says that family privilege is an invisible package of assets and pathways that provide us with a sense of belonging, safety, unconditional love, and spiritual values. And with family privilege, children observe parents or older siblings to see the effort that it takes to be successful in life. And so family privilege provides the chance to hope and to dream. And like white privilege or privilege seen with someone coming from a higher socioeconomical class, family privilege can bring similar imbalances to foster youth. So their chance to hope and dream is affected because they're focused on survival. Compound this with trauma, neglect, and abuse. Foster youth can be faced with trauma that exceeds twice the level of war veterans due to neurological and physiological developmental factors. I started by conducting a comprehensive review of over 80 pieces of literature. Approval to conduct a multiple case study was approved by the Research Ethics Board. 9 semi-structured interviews were conducted with former foster care alumni who completed college or university programs in Ontario. And interesting points out of this is that 7 out of the 9 participants completed more than one credential, and 7 out of the 9 are actually in the midst of completing additional credentials in higher education. As one participant said, the focus on survival exceeded consideration of post-secondary education or even a career. It was more of a concern how to overcome the trauma, the abuse, and even in some cases the neglect. And so, although other research literature pointed to many other successful factors that were needed, such as financial supports, housing, systematic changes, participants that provided feedback in these interviews indicated the following findings. First, caring, coaching adults. So, caring teachers, professors, foster parents, social workers, practitioners, youth workers, church friends, non biological parents that demonstrated coaching was the top factor that participants credited for their success in higher education. 2, resistance to the negative stereotype of their biological parents, resistance to their expectation of failure by others, resistance to the stigma of insignificance, and resistance to the feeling of othering, where you're made to feel like you're somebody other than the rest, was the second reason why participants felt they were able to succeed. They didn't accept the norm that was forecasted for foster care alumni, but resisted it to succeed. Third, determination. So in many cases, participants described how their determination to succeed was so important that they didn't see any other option. It was, in some cases, they even said, come hell or high water. Success was not an option, but mandatory if they were ever going to get past things. 4, experience. So, due to the lack of family privilege that we referenced and participants' necessity to survive, they actually lacked the experience to understand what works and what doesn't work for higher education. However, when they finally got to experience a taste of post secondary education, it truly helped them to understand there was a different life. And coming out of that as well, around that theme, was that experiential learning in college and university was something that participants actually indicated helped them to succeed within their program and is something they wished more of. And then 5th, career clarity. The more foster youth participants obtained clarity on their career prospects through post-secondary education, the more it impacted their success. Now, in a lot of cases, they couldn't come together around that career clarity because of their trauma. But even with less career planning support than their non-foster youth peers, the little they were able to obtain provided an immense amount of motivation to succeed. So what are the implications? Top 10 implications for the future are that one, identification needs to be offered by institutions so that they can identify themselves in a confidential manner in the same way that is provided for other underrepresented groups when entering their program. Follow-up support is needed. With institutions, there must be ways to provide specific follow-up with foster care alumni by caring, trained staff, or faculty. 3, tuition waivers. Where possible, that those should be provided for foster youth, and government should provide some kind of reward and or incentive for institutions to offer this support. Campus support initiatives. The 4th area where these should be established at institutions coordinated by caring staff and faculty that provide coaching. And so former foster care alumni that have previously succeeded should also be invited to this coaching network. Foster care alumni voices are so important in succeeding, and those who have succeeded should be invited to participate in advocacy and support roles. 6, experiential learning integrated in post-secondary education. So paid experiential learning opportunities should be increased for foster care students to level the inequity due to the socioeconomic and family disadvantage. Development of career clarity. So increase that career development supports to help foster youth through child welfare workers supported by educational institutions should be there. 8, aging out. Readiness determination. So when a young person is ready to leave their home, their family, It's when they're ready. Why can't we do the same for foster youth? Instead of when they reach a magic number, they have to leave and they're out on the street. 9, trauma-informed support training. So workers, practitioners, educators, foster parents should be given the training to better understand trauma to help with foster youth and to also assist and contribute to their eventual success. And then lastly, access consultation. So successful foster care alumni should be consulted on addressing barriers in accessing post-secondary education. That's my time for today. My research has actually led me to become part of the Canadian Child Welfare Pact. Our educational mission is actually to increase social mobility with post secondary partners in Canada for current and former foster kids. The barrier of finances are significant for sure, and the Child Welfare Pact has actually create over 210 tuition-free places at 15 schools in 5 provinces for current and former foster youth in care. And this month alone, Wilfrid Laurier University and Seneca College have just announced their plans to join the list of schools providing this support. And our end goal is similar opportunities at all post-secondary schools coast to coast. So for more details on these initiatives or to get a hold of my research materials, check out the website or email me. Thank you for your time.